Hi YouTube, how you all going? Look, I've just uploaded a video on silver where I looked at the price of silver in US dollars, euros, and also Aussie dollars. And the reason why I did that was that it was a user requested video. So I just thought I'd also take this opportunity to do one on gold and look at gold when priced in those three currencies. And I just want to say again, if you guys have any videos or anything you want me to look at, please feel free to send me a comment. I really want to engage with the people who watch this channel. I want to hear your thoughts on gold, silver, what you're seeing in the market, and it should be good. So anyway, just getting to the charts. As I said, I've got three here. I've got US, the euro, and also the Aussie dollar here. But what we'll do, we'll start off with the US because that's one you guys have no doubt seen a lot of. There's not really too much to add other than the fact that we're still pretty much hanging around this 1600, 1650 level. I would say that, as I've mentioned before, if we can get some smaller moves, start to remove this volatility, which we have started to see in the last session or two, we'll start to see a more sustainable trading pattern. I do then think there's a chance we can come and test this lower band of the channel in a more sustainable fashion, rather than just trying to do one large drop to get there, or close enough to there, and then hopefully we can continue up in a basically a wave format, hitting the top, coming back down, hit touching the bottom, going back up, and that'll give us a sustainable run over time. Now, just like I've mentioned in the silver video, which I'll put a link to below, we've got a lot of news coming up from the euro front. So they're talking about perhaps leveraging their European bailout fund, which, if you're a central bank and you're talking about leveraging, the money provided by other countries, you're effectively talking about loaning money to yourself by creating it, or, pretty much printing it. So that could certainly see some strength return to gold and silver. Just as people decide, well, hey, look, I'm not going to hold euros while they are essentially devalued by the printing presses. I'll look to preserve my wealth with gold or silver. But that's not a given at the moment. There's a lot of news to come out of that zone, and obviously the whole move away from risk, whether it's stocks or commodities, can certainly offset the effects or any positive benefits that may come from that. So what I'll do now is I'll just switch to the euro. Now the chart is completely different, than what we saw in the US dollars. You can essentially see that this $1,050 mark was pretty much significant, support and resistance for quite some time. Pretty much well over a year. It obviously bounced off that mark, traded down, but it's essentially been stuck between $100, $150 move for well over a year. They haven't seen the type of gains that a lot of other markets have seen, but we did, obviously with the strong moves recently, they did break out, they did push higher, and quickly added 35 odd percent. So it certainly did catch up with the rest of us. We did see a series of higher highs, but just as we've seen with the US dollar, it has smashed below, I guess, this kind of channel that was kind of forming, and now it's hovering around the $1,200 odd mark. It did touch this previous low at 1150, which you can see it was a high here as well. So look, for the time being, it certainly does appear that gold, when priced in euros, is going to be around this 1150, $1,200 mark, until we just get some more news, or a more stable price pattern where we can start to see a new uptrend or downtrend forming, whatever the case may be. If this 1150 mark breaks, well, then certainly 1050 is back on the cards, and if that was to fall, then it's pretty much down to 1000, and it's pretty much in $50 increments from then on down. You can see that it's kind of bounced off the $950 mark. Before that, it bounced off the $900 mark. So kind of quite a bit of support and resistance there for the gold when priced in euros. And now for gold in Aussie dollars. So much like the euro, we have kind of throughout much of 2010, 2011, or the early part at least, we were kind of just bobbing around. You can see a lot of price action between this 1350, 1400, 1450 mark. I guess at least on the Aussie dollar chart, you can kind of see a general upward sloping trend, but really no significant moves like we'd seen with gold priced in US dollars. Obviously, that's partly due to the weakening of the US dollar and the strength that we've seen in the Aussie dollar throughout much of 2011. Obviously, the parabolic move wouldn't have been ignored, and we did see, I guess, a breakout of the price below 1520, or breakout of the price from this, I guess, $1,400 area that it had been in recently. It jumped into this newer band of price action, which basically saw it trading between 1650 and 1800. You can see some quite volatile moves in gold when priced in Aussie dollars, and that's just because recently with Operation Twist in America, we have seen I guess a strengthening of the US dollar, which is just combined with the whole general sell-off in anything that's risky. Even though a lot of people see gold, I guess, as a safe haven, you cannot deny the fact that there has been a sell-off in pretty much everything, including commodities and stocks. People are just fleeing to cash at the moment. But for the time being, we're pretty much hanging around this 1650 odd level. If we can see the Aussie dollar stay at or close to parity with the US dollar, then we're gonna see basically one for one similar action like in the US chart. So if that's the case, if we remain at parity, I wouldn't rule out a fall back down to 1500, which on the Aussie dollar chart would pretty much take us back down to this line here, a little bit below perhaps, and then we can start hopefully respecting that upper and lower band that we see on the US denominated chart, which would see us trade between 1500 and 1700 and slowly continue up, I guess, in kind of like a wave-like pattern. Now, obviously, as I've mentioned before, there's a lot of news to come out with Europe and everything, so there's certainly potential for gold and silver in general, but at the moment there doesn't seem to be any real emphasis or point in buying at this point in time. As I've mentioned in my silver videos, there could be further falls there, and with gold, if you're thinking it's going to come down to 1500 again and test that lower band, well, you might as well wait and save yourself 150 bucks an ounce. It doesn't mean, of course, that the uptrend is broken. I'm still bullish on gold in the long term, and I'll remain that way until this lower band's broken. If that's the case, we then need to reassess things. But look, guys, thanks again for watching. Any more user recommended videos or whatever, comments, just send them through. And yeah, as always, please rate, comment, and subscribe.